Today we continue our class Hilchot Talmud Torah, the laws of studying of the Torah, and we start with second. So we start with the Sefer Chofetz Chaim, and the topic today is the same as last time, as we discussed personal information. So last time we said in some cases you're not allowed to keep this personal information. Somebody tells the secret that this person is going to kill somebody or going to hurt somebody in some kind of shape or form. So you must speak up. But in most of the cases, you're not allowed to disclose the private information. Okay. So next one is that's a big one. The lawyers and therapists. The commandment, do not stand aside while your fellow blood is being shed, Vayikra 19:16, presents a major dilemma for the professional whose effectiveness, reputation, and livelihood rests on confidence placed in him by his clientele. Often the client will reveal to his lawyer or therapist information that is being withheld from someone unjustly. So that's the big topic, right? So lawyer knows that this guy is he's a criminal. 1 second, let me turn on the light. Sorry. So he knows that this client of his is a criminal, and he continued to protecting him, which is not right, but that's what he does. Right, because otherwise this client of his is going to sue him, or this therapist. Whenever possible, therapist must convince his client that he has a moral obligation to divulge such information to the proper party. Where appropriate, the client should be made to understand that despite the consequences, he will experience a sense of relief after having revealed the information. Moreover, by being honest and open in his personal life, one is able to develop a more positive self-image. So, that's advice for a therapist. Of course, he's not allowed to, by law at least, right, to disclose this private information, but he can he can manipulate in some sense, right, by his client, and make him to do it himself, to reveal the information himself. Okay. Should the client persist in his refusal to divulge such information, the proper party, the lawyer or the therapist may be faced with a painful choice of either allowing a destructive relationship to materialize or possibly jeopardize his livelihood and reputation. So that's a tough choice. So a Jew should not be in any of these positions. Right? Consulting with a competent halachic authority is a must in such a situation. This would also apply to a physician who is aware that a chronically ill patient is seeking to marry. When bringing such a matter before halachic authorities, one should not mention the names of the party involved unless it's absolutely necessary. Right? So he knows this guy is very, very sick, or this girl is very, very sick, and now she wants to marry, and the other party has no idea about it. Right? So that's a tough choice, but technically the doctor is obligated to step up and step forward and reveal the information. So I would say it's smarter for a doctor not to know, not to be very close to his patients. So in this case, I have no idea that he's getting married, his daughter is getting married. I mean, how do I know? Okay, so we stop here. No problem. So we continue. Start a new chapter. So we start chapter number 3 and Halachah number 1. That's very interesting. Okay. 3 crowns were conferred upon Israel: the crown of the Torah, the crown of the priesthood, and the crown of the royalty. It's actually from Pirkei Avos, right? Aaron merited the crown of the priesthood, as Shmos 25:13 states, and it will be the eternal covenant of the priesthood from him, for him and his descendants after him. David merited the crown of royalty, as it says in Psalms 89:37. His seat will continue forever, and his throne will be the sun before me. The crown of the Torah is set aside, waiting for and ready for every Jew, for each Jew, as implied in Dvarim 33:4. The Torah which Moshe commanded us is the inheritance of the congregation of Yaakov. So meaning what? Anybody who wants and truly desires can come and take it. Whoever desires may come and take it. Whoever desires may come and take it. So that's it. Lest you say that the other crowns surpass the crowns of the Torah, Proverbs 8 verses 15 and 16 states, "By me kings reign, princes decree justice, and nobles rule. Thus we have learned that the crown of the Torah is greater than the other two." Okay, so let's do it from the beginning. This commentary, and of course there is a lot of explanations. Okay, so it says the crown, three crowns were conferred upon Israel: the crown of the Torah, the crown of the priesthood, and the crown of the royalty. Okay, so number one comment here. Similar expression was found in Yoma 72b. However, the Talmud uses the expression there were three diadems. I mean, I think it's very close to the crowns. Okay, the expression three crowns is found in the Sefer Korach and about the Rabbi Nassan. Okay, chapter 41. It may be explained that the Rambam chooses to employ this expression because of the significance of the word keser. Keser is a crown. The term also means encompass. Interesting. In the three halachas in this chapter, in which Rambam mentioned the expression "the crown of the Torah," Halachah 6 and 7 and 13, the Rambam describes the all-encompassing commitment to the Torah study, meaning the crown of the Torah. Hence, he uses the term crown to allude to this quality of service. Okay. So continue. Aaron merited the crown of the priesthood. Aaron merited. Number two commentary. The Sefer states, Aaron merited and took it. The Rambam omits the latter term, meaning they took it, right? Since the priesthood and similar royalty are not attributes that acquired by the human effort, but rather must be conveyed by God. That's what happened. HaShem actually said that the priesthood is going to go to Aaron and his sons. So it's not like he took it literally. So one more time the whole sentence. Aaron merited the crown and of the priesthood commentary. This includes two aspects: A, that his descendants alone will serve as a Kohanim, and B, one will be chosen as a Kohen Gadol. Okay, two things, very interesting. So only the sons of Aaron are Kohanim. So that's why there are not so many Kohanim. Like usually, sometimes it's maybe one family in a shul, two families. Like some shuls don't have Kohanim at all. Okay. Right, so why? Because they came from only one family. Okay. As it says, Shmos 25:13, and it will be the eternal covenant of the priesthood for him and his descendants after him. Okay. So meaning only his only his descendant. I mean him. Hashem said him, his sons, and all of the new sons that are going to get born, to be born from those sons. Okay. Okay. Continue. David merited the crown of royalty, as Psalm 89:37 states. His seat will continue forever, and his throne will be a sun before me. Number 5. Hilchos Melachim 1:7. The Rambam states, once David was anointed, he acquired the crown of royalty. Afterwards, the kingship belonged to him and his male descendants forever. It must be noted that in a present Halachah, Rambam quotes different verse from Hilchos Melachim and in what the Rabbi Nassim. I mean, for us, it does not make any difference. I mean, so we know that David took second crown. Again, it's not like it says merited the second crown because HaShem said he is the best and want him to be a king, and all of the kings can come only from Yehuda, or only from the house of David. Okay, continue. Actually, they say from David and Shlomo. So only because he had the other sons only from Shlomo. Okay. Continue. The crown of the Torah is set aside, awaiting and ready for each Jew. Okay, so let's see. Each Jew commentary. A Sefer, same place, uses the expression for all inhabitants of the earth. Wow. Though some manuscript copies of the Mishnah Torah read for all, rather for each Jew, the printed text can be explained on the basis of Hilchos Melachim 10:9, which states a Gentile who studied Torah is liable for the death penalty. Okay. Similar on a verse from Dvarim, it's quoted, Sanhedrin 59a comments, it is not our inheritance, and it is our inheritance and not theirs. So not Jews, unless they're in process of conversion, they're forbidden to learn Torah. And what is the punishment? Death from the hands of HaShem, for sure. So that's why it's very, very dangerous, and that's why when my team does videos like with oral Torah, we actually put like a disclaimer. So if you're not in if you're not Jew or not in process of conversion, not allowed to do this. I mean, and we of course we say you can get the death penalty from HaShem. You want to play with fire, you can watch. There is no problem. I mean, but we must warn people. Nevertheless, it must be pointed out. So because it's as it says clearly in the Talmud, it's our inheritance, not theirs. So they Hashem gave to Jewish people. So other people who have no intention to convert have no right to come and take. Right. Continue. Nevertheless, it must be pointed out that the same passage in Sanhedrin also describes the high level which Gentiles can attain by studying the rules of the 7 general laws of human behavior given to Noah and his descendants. All Jews are obligated to assist the Gentile in the study. Hilchos Melachim 8:10. Okay. So on another hand, if a righteous Noahide, so he studies Torah, whatever is applicable to him or whatever is allowed for him to learn, he can get to the big heights. And Jews are only obligated to assist when Jews are obligated to assist Gentile in his study. Meaning, if they have questions, so we don't missionize, we don't go to anybody and ask them if they want to convert. Right? If they come ask questions, so we can answer. Yeah, no problem. Help them. Okay, continue. So from the beginning of the sentence, the crown of the Torah is set aside waiting ready for every Jew, as it says in the Dvarim. The Torah which Moshe commanded us is inheritance of the congregation of Yaakov. Okay, congregation of Yaakov, number 7, commentary, and thus become the property of every Jew as soon as he is born. So it's like as it say, inheritance. So people inherit things not because any special privilege, right? But not because they have any special quality. The only quality, they're born to this family. So when grandmother passes away, so the parents are going to inherit. They didn't do much to deserve it. I mean, that's it. But it's a property for every Jew as soon as he's born, right? And he has to value the property, right? Cherish it. Because of the fundamental message implied by this verse, the Rambam chooses to quote it rather than the verse mentioned in quote it, rather than the verse mentioned in Avos de Rabbi Nassim. Similarly, the message conveyed by this verse is so important that it is taught to every Jewish child as soon as he learns to talk. Okay. Nevertheless, although as the above verse implies, each Jew has his inherent connection to the Torah. Effort must be extended in order to reveal develop the connection. I mean, okay, of course, you have a treasure and you're entitled to it, but you have to work for it. You have to deserve it. I mean, right? To work hard, and only then you can get it. I mean, I would say the simple example. Even though you have food in the refrigerator, if it's raw food, unless you cook it, you can die of starvation, right? You have to get up and go cook the food. Just 1 second. So the effort must be extended in order to reveal and develop this connection. In that way, in Avos 2:15 counsels, prepare yourself to study Torah, for it is not an inheritance. Right? So, I mean, prepare yourself to study Torah, so it's not. So, meaning that it is inheritance. If it's in the inheritance as we just explained, you're going to get it no matter what, right? You don't have to do anything special, so that person passes away and you become his heir. But here Perkei say no, it's not going to happen on its own. So you have to work at it. So it seems like contradiction, but it's not. Number 7. Continue. Whoever desires may come and take it. I mean, especially in today's day that the books are so cheap and so available and so like high quality, such a good quality books, and like in all the different languages, so in all of these classes online. No, not all of the but of good speakers. In his commentary to Mishnah Avos 4:17, Rambam relates the content of this halacha and uses the expression, whoever desires to be crowned with the crown of the Torah. Okay. So continue. Lest you say that the other crowns surpass the crown of the Torah, Proverbs 8 and verses 15 and 16 states, by me kings reign, princes decree justice, and nobles rule. Commentary. The latter clause is omitted in many manuscript copies of Mishnah Torah. Okay. Thus, we have learned that the crown of the Torah is greater than the two. Commentary. The Sefer in the same place states, who is greater? One who conveys the crown, or the one who is crowned? Interesting. Thus, we can appreciate the crown of the Torah surpasses the crown of the royalty, since king is given greater honor. King is given a greater honor than Kohen Gadol. We can assume that the crown of the Torah is greater than the crowns of the priesthood. Okay, Mishnah. Any questions on what we said? We finished that Halachah. Okay. So no problem. So we continue. Halachah number 2. Okay, our sages declare that even Torah sage, who is mamzer, deserve the precedence over the Kohen Gadol, who is unlearned. As implied in Proverbs, Proverbs is a Mishnah. right? Mishlei 3:15. It is more precious than pearls. That verse is interpreted as meaning the more precious than Kohen Gadol who enters innermost chambers. Okay, so let's see. Our sages declare our sages in Harayas 13a declare that even Torah sage who is mamzer explains child born for certain incestuous and adulterous sexual relations. See Hilchot Rabbi chapter 1. So all of this mamzerim from incestuous and adulterous relations. Okay. So they can marry only mamzerim or converts. Okay. So let's see. Our sages declare that even a Torah sage who is a mamzer just deserve a precedence over the Kohen Gadol who is a Lerner. So on one hand we say he's a mamzer, he's like not such a respectable person, let's say, right? Not because he did something in this life per se, but because of his mother did whatever she did, right? And even though if he of course he's a Jew, he learns Torah, and if he's become a Torah sage, Talmid Chacham, he's higher and deserve more respect than Kohen Gadol, right? Who is unlearned, of course. Commentary. Though such a phenomenon was undesirable, it often occurred in the Second Temple period when Kohen Gadol were appointed by the Romans in return for excessive bribes. Okay, so unfortunately, see Rambam commentary to Mishnah Yoma 1.3. So unfortunately, the Romans were in charge and they could were doing whatever they please. So whoever gives them higher bribe, they would appoint the Kohen Gadol. Unfortunately, so it was common for Kohanim not even survive 1 year. Why? They would go on Yom Kippur to Holy of Holies, Kodesh HaKodeshim, and they would die there. Very simple, because they are not worthy. But the ego, I guess, I don't know what else besides the ego was pushing them, so they knew they're going to die almost certainly, and still they want this to be in that moment, to go in the Holy of Holies. Unbelievable. And die. So continue. As implied by the Proverbs 3:15, the more precious than pearls. It is more precious than pearls. I mean in the Torah 14. Similarity between the Hebrew words pearls and inner for inner leads to the following interpretation. Okay, so similarly it's precious than pearls. Okay, continue. That verse is interpreted as meaning more precious the Kohen Gadol who enters into innermost chambers. So it's very interesting. Right, so this mamzer is more precious in the eyes of God than this top Kohen Gadol. Okay, so let's see the commentary. 16. There is the Holy of Holies. In introduction to this text, Rambam explained that structured it to be halachas, right? The law after law, implying that he would include only statements of the Torah law. In a contrast, other concepts, though ethically and philosophically significant, were not included. According to this halachah and the others in this chapter, which praise the Torah study, must be understood as behavior directives applicable with regard to A, arrangement of one's own priority and the goals of life, and B, in order which people must give honor and respect. So it's very interesting commentary. So on one hand, as we said, and actually it's not the first time, we mentioned few times actually in in the Hilchot Teshuvah, when Rambam goes into some explanation that philosophical, like hashkafa explanation, have nothing to do with halacha, looks like on the surface. But of course, there is always connection. And if Rambam said halacha, of course, he did never forget what his agenda was. Okay, so we have to see why exactly these laws, there's a commentary explain why they included in this halacha. So, I mean, what is halacha for me? Like, what do I learn that this mamzer who's Talmid Chacham is more respectable in eyes of God than more respectable than Kohen Gadol? What do I learn from this? So they say very interesting, two things, very interesting. One is arrangement of one's own priority and goals in life. So as Rabbi Reuven Shlita said just recently, I think it was in a class, Getting Over Your Past. Very interesting, very strong class. Would recommend everybody to listen to or watch, whatever you do. So he said that many people, not all, but many people need some nonsenses in their life. Okay, so you need nonsense. You need to watch like nature channel for 15 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. That's not a problem. For some people, if you forgive them completely, they're going to go nuts. So they're going to crash very soon. So of course, I mean, you're allowed to have some hobby, whatever you do, but make sure it's not going to be the most important thing in your life. It's not going to run your life and everything around you. Okay, you know the Torah and the Mitzvot is your life, and all other things. Okay, it's like if I get to them. Okay. So and many times people fail, right? People fail and they go up and they fail, but at least Rabbi Reuven Shlita always say, try to put up a fight, right? And don't just because you failed, don't make this Yetzer Hara king over you. It's very interesting expression. Don't make it king over you. Okay, it's something that beats you up this time, but you learn your lesson. You drew your conclusions, and you're going to be better next time. But don't make a king over you. Okay. And second, what is it? In order which people must be given honor and respect. Right? Honor and respect of the Torah studies, of the Torah scholars. 16. Continue. Number 3. More of the other mitzvahs can be equated to the none of the other mitzvahs can be equated to the study of the Torah. Rather than study of the Torah can be equated to all of the mitzvahs. Because study leads to deed. Therefore, study takes precedence of the deed in all cases. Okay, that's very, very deep and very, very interesting. So let's try to understand what it says here. So what is more important? It's people who do not know much, so they have this question, like what is the more important, study of the Torah or doing the deed? Okay, that's okay. Rambam answered this question right here. None of the other mitzvahs can be equated to the Torah study. So the Torah study is the highest. No other mitzvahs. We're not comparing any other activities. No other mitzvah can be compared to the Torah study. Rather, the Torah study can be equated to all other mitzvahs. All other mitzvahs combined. Right? Because the study leads to deeds. Okay. So let's see. All of the mitzvahs combined. 17. The case of Mishnah cites Peah 1:1 as a source for this statement. The Mishnah lists the number of the mitzvahs whose benefit I enjoy in this world, though the principal reward remains for the world to come, and concludes that the study of the Torah is equivalent to them all. However, Lev Shlomo notes that antecedents of the phrase "them all" are the various mitzvahs which are mentioned previously in the Mishnah, and not all of the mitzvahs of the Torah. Okay. Hence, he refers to Yerushalayim Talmud Peah 1:1, which states all of the mitzvahs of the Torah are not worthy on one and are not worth one word of the Torah. That's just from this you see how it is important to learn of the Torah. So people give up the Torah study, go do all this nonsenses. So if they only knew what they're giving up, so that might stop them. Maybe yes, maybe no. Just because person know the price, unless it's tangible, something that you can unless it's money or he sees like some or she sees some kind of results. Like people do not understand. Even they read 100 times. Okay. So continue, because the Torah study leads to deeds. But deeds do not necessarily lead to Torah study. Maybe even opposite. For without study, one will never know how to fulfill the mitzvah. So the person who does not study Torah does not go to Gan Eden, for sure. How do I know for sure? Why is that? So can he be a decent person? No, absolutely not. Right? So unless he studies Torah, there is a chance for a person to go to Gan Eden. If not. Okay, continue. Therefore, study takes precedence over deed in all cases. Over deed, 19. See chapter 1, Halachah 3, and commentary to it. Though there is a similarity between the Halachah cited above and present one, the two are not redundant. Okay. The two are not redundant. That Halachah deals with a course of action proper for the person whose father has not instructed him in the Torah study. One second. Let me go back. Sorry. See chapter 1, Halachah 3. So it's very beginning of this chapter. All right. Chapter 1, Halachah 3, and commentary to it. Though there is a similarity between the Halachah cited above and present one, the two are not redundant. That Halachah deals with a course of action proper for a person whose father not instructed him in Torah study. As we said, just to remind us what we said, that so a father is obligated to instruct this child Torah study, or okay, after some age, so he has to pay actually for somebody. So you do it yourself, or you pay somebody. You can, I don't know, you can fix your plumbing yourself, or you can hire somebody, whatever you do, but it must be done. So, but if it was not done, right? If it was not done, and now child grew up, so now he's obligated to learn the Torah. So it's he has his own personal obligation. Okay. The Rambam instructs such a person that rather than ignoring the Torah study and devote himself to perform the good deeds alone, he should study Torah. So just because people say, no, I was not raised in a religious family, I was raised in a traditional family, which has nothing to do with the tradition of Moshe and from Mount Sinai, right? So from that family, from this, so all of these things are not an excuse. Right, so a person says, I'm going to do good deeds, I'm going to visit the sick. Okay, it's very nice of you to visit the sick, and it's a very big mitzvah, but you ignore all other mitzvahs, so you fail like every second on your life. This chapter centers around the principle of the Torah study is the highest rank a person can reach. So Torah study is the highest rank, meaning on a step or on a ladder, like the person can reach. Accordingly, the advice in the following halakha applies to even a person who has established a basis of Torah knowledge. It teaches him to seek the personal fulfillment in study rather than in deed. So even though he has a basic knowledge, so some things. I mean, me personally, I never met, like, unless somebody very big Torah scholar, never met anybody that finished Shulchan Aruch. right? I never met even, forget about Shulchan Aruch, even Mishnah Brura. Okay, people say things, but okay. So and they go into the deeds. So deeds are very good, but the person does not know what to do. Similarly, it advised us that the most propitious ways to use each moment of spare time is to what these moments to Torah study. So that's what we must actually like take into consideration and try to apply in our life. So many times, like if a person is tired, she can listen to the classes. You're driving somewhere, you're walking on the street, you're standing in line in a bank or wherever you're standing. So you're not obligated to talk to all the people, right? You're standing in a supermarket, in a register, you're shopping, so you can listen to a lecture, right? So every spare moment. Okay, 19. So one more time the whole sentence. It says that therefore study takes precedence over deed in all cases. So number 20. With the expression, with exception of the instance mentioned in the following Halachah. With exception of instance mentioned in the following Halachah. Okay, so when deed is actually taking precedence. Okay. Therefore, the Torah study takes precedence over the deed in all cases. Okay. So, what is the exception? Any questions on what we said before we continue? Finish that halacha. Okay, no problem. So, number 4, halacha number 4. The following rules apply when a person is confronted. When a person is confronted with the performance of the mitzvah and the study of the Torah. Okay. If the mitzvah can be performed by another individual, he should not interrupt his studies. If not, he should perform the mitzvah and then return to his studies. It's very interesting. So we're going to read again. But many people they look actually. And unfortunately, the way to dump the Torah study, so they look just waiting for opportunities. So, but other people that I know who do not want to interrupt the Torah study, so they would give the person who invited them somewhere this interrogation to make sure, am I person number 10 or are you going to have 10? So get somebody else. Just leave me alone. I have a Torah study session. I'm not going to cancel. Very interesting. Continue. The following rules apply when a person is confronted with the performance of the mitzvah and the Torah study. Comment 21. And the performance of the mitzvah would cause him to interrupt his studies. So it's whatever is it. Even to pray, they need a minyan. Okay, so they need a minyan for mincha, but I'm learning. Go get somebody else. Right? Just because I'm closer, and it does not mean that I'm going to now interrupt my study and go just because you need 10 people. Okay, it's simple. The explanation is simple. The praying with minyan is rabbinical, and studying the Torah is biblical. Why should I interrupt my biblical to go with you do rabbinical mitzvah? If it is a time and you're going to miss the time, or maybe if they cannot find anybody else, so maybe, and you would be allowed actually while they pray, and you would be allowed to study Torah. That's another thing. But otherwise, just tell them no. Okay. So it says. Let me actually read the whole sentence from the beginning. The following rules apply when a person is confronted with the performance of the mitzvah and study of the Torah. If this mitzvah can be performed by another individual, he cannot interrupt his studies. Cannot. 22. Okay. The case of Mishnah cites the following narrative from Yerushalayim Talmud Pesachim 3:7. Rabbeinu Abahu sent his son to study in Tiberias. When he came to visit, the local people praised his son for the piety of burying the dead. When he heard this, Rabbi Abahu rebuked his son severely. Is it because there are no graves in Caesarea that I send you in Tiberias? They're like, you normal, I send you to yeshiva and you do like all of this burying of the dead? All of any ignoramus can do that. All of this, other people can do that. Not I pay for you to study Torah. That's what you do. Even though it is a big mitzvah to bury the dead, but there are many other people who can do it as good. Moed Katan 9b derives the priority of study over the performance of the mitzvahs as follows. Proverbs 3:15 states. So Proverbs, it's a Mishnah 3:15 states. None of your desires can be equated to it, the Torah, right? Implying that your desires, double quote, there is things that the man wants cannot be equated to the Torah study, but God's desires. There is the mitzvahs can be equated with it. So your desires cannot be equated with it, but God's desires can be equated to this, to the Torah side. And what is the God desires? The mitzvahs. That's what He wants us to do, mitzvahs. In a contrast, in Mishlei 8:11 states, no desire, seemingly implying even God's desire, the mitzvahs, can be equated to it. So meaning what? Okay, so very interesting. So how can the two be resolved? So in one case, in one of the lines of Proverbs, it says that all of the mitzvah equated to one more time. Mitzvahs can be all of the mitzvah can be equated to it, and here it said not even no mitzvah can be equated to it. Okay, so what is the resolution? How can the two be resolved? When it is possible for a mitzvah to be performed by another individual, nothing takes precedence of the Torah study. So okay, send somebody else, pay him, right? However, if there is no one else to perform the mitzvah, the performance of the mitzvah is given priority. However, if there is no one else to perform the mitzvah, the performance of the mitzvah is given priority. Of course, what is the performance? Performance of the mitzvah. I mean, if there is no somebody else on a road and there is a dead body, so even Kohen Gadol would be obligated to bury this body. But it's an exception, or only you can do some other mitzvahs. Okay. So, or getting married. So there is mitzvah to get married. So only you can get married, nobody else, like to this lady. Okay. So verse 21. Okay. So let's read the whole sentence. The following rules apply when a person is confronted with the performance of the mitzvah and study of the Torah. So we just explained if possible that somebody else did do it or not possible. Right? If mitzvah can be performed by another individual, he should not interrupt his study. Okay, that's what we just commented. If not, he should perform the mitzvah and then return to the study. If not, number 23. If there is no way the mitzvah can be performed by another person, for example, paying honor to the deceased person or collecting charity, so this guy is the best in charity, or that's his job. Okay, that's what he must do. When one's position will cause one's words to have greater effect than those of other people. I mean, he's a good speaker. He's good charity collector. Right? People trust him. They like him. Okay, so it's better for him to go and collect charity for a good cause than somebody else. Okay, some other people can also do it, but not as effective as that person, which makes sense. Number 24. So he should perform the mitzvah and return to his studies. So number 24. Bracha 17a teaches the ultimate of knowledge is teshuva and good deeds. The ultimate of knowledge is teshuva and good deeds. Okay, so let's see. Similar, so teshuva means to return, right, and good deeds. Okay. Similarly, Yerushalayim Talmud, Brachos 1:2, states that it would be preferable for a person to study without performing mitzvahs ever to have been created. Just 1 second. It would be preferable for a person who study without performing of the mitzvah never have been created. So if he only study all of this theoretic stuff and never does any mitzvah, so it's better for him, as the Yerushalayim Talmud says, never been created. So we have to see that, on one hand, we said that the Torah study is the highest of the highest. On one hand, it is true, nobody denies it. But if he does not put these mitzvahs to action, right? So it's better for him never been created. So because they make these people make of the Torah some kind of philosophy book, has for sure that they enjoy. Not instruction for life. So we see the Torah instruction for life. So I see what what Rambam said about being angry. Let's say. So I'm trying to work myself not to be angry. I see what the Torah teaches how to give tzedakah. So I learn how to give tzedakah, and I go and give practically tzedakah, not theoretically. Not I know all of these intricate details and never give a penny. No, I learn. And do good deeds. That's the proper way. Thus, Yerushalayim Talmud in Shabbos 1:2 relates that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who would not interrupt his study, even for prayer, would stop studying, build the sukkah, and bind his lulav. Very interesting. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in his cave, for prayers he would not stop. But as we said, prayers is actually like praying in your own words. This is actually biblical. Okay. But he would what? He would build his sukkah and bind lulav. Very interesting. The rationale behind the above statement can be explained as follows. As explained in the commentary to chapter 1, Halachah 3, the ultimate level of fulfillment man can reach it's a step beyond humanity and fulfill God's will, as revealed in the mitzvahs. That's how we become superhuman, right? Through the what? Through the learning of the Torah and fulfillments of God's will. Nevertheless, priority is given to Torah study because it possesses twofold advantage over the other mitzvahs. First, it leads to the other fulfillment, right? Other fulfillment. Second, to their fulfillment. I'm sorry, to the fulfillment of the Torah, to the mitzvahs. He knows what to do. Second, it allows for internalized connection to be established with a person and God. So the deeper you learn into mitzvah, the deeper you go. At least as how much HaShem allows us to go. So the deeper you become attached to the mitzvahs, right? Even like simple, like washing hands after your meal, right? So, but the more you learn, the more deeper you go, the more you getting attached to the mitzvah, and through this mitzvah you're getting close to HaShem. However, when a person ignores the fulfillment of the mitzvahs, both of those advantages are lost. So these people, they're never close to HaShem. That if anything, they're removed from HaShem. Obviously, who do not do the mitzvahs. Obviously, the study does not lead to deeds. The study does not lead to deed, and furthermore, his intellectual activity appears to be a matter of personal interest and not process of connection to God. So it's actually, as we said before, it's like For some people, it's just enjoyment. They like they do crosswords, or like puzzles, or they do Gemara. Maybe Gemara is multi-level. It's more interesting for them, right? More stimulating than other things. So he would learn not because it is God said so and it's God's wisdom. This and no, because simply because he likes it, because he enjoys it. Okay. So, any questions? We'll continue. Okay, so I think we can do one more. So let's see. So we see next one is number 5. Okay, it says first aspect of the person's judgment in this world, in the world to come, will center on a Torah study. Only afterwards his other deeds are considered. According to the sages, would say a person should always occupy himself in Torah study, whether for sake of God or even not for the sake of God. For from the study of the Torah, which is not carried out for the sake of God, will come the study of the Torah, which is carried out for the sake of God. So, I mean, it's also from Perkiovas. We're going to explain. 1 second. Whoa. It's a very big commentary. You know what should we do? Okay, let's do it. So number 5. The first aspect of the person's judgment in the next world, in the world to come, will center on the Torah study. Okay, so it's one of the first question. I think if he did his business faithfully, conduct his business faithfully, and second, if he's established the session for Torah study. Okay. Continue. Only afterwards will these other deeds be considered. His other deeds will be considered. 25. Commentary. The statement is based on Sanhedrin 7a. Other sources, Shabbat 31a, say that the first question posed to a person in the world to come: did you deal faithfully in business? So that's what we said. So this is second question. Tosafos in Sanhedrin offers 2 possible resolutions to the apparent contradiction. Okay, so let's see. Where is it? A person who never studied at all is judged first regarding the Torah study. Who never studied. Why? Because all of his issues, right, in his life was because why? Of the lack of the Torah study. However, one who studied but did not establish fixed time for the study is judged regarding his business affairs, right? So he studied but not established Torah study, meaning when he had time, when he would come to the shul and Rabbi is speaking. Okay, is it study? No. Even though the first question, the first question that the soul is asked centers on the business affairs, right? The first retribution will he receive a result of negligence of the Torah study. So as we said, that's very, very scary, of course. But had he studied the Torah, he would escape all of these things, or at least maybe not all of these, but many of them. Continue. According to our sages would say. So let's see the commentary. So in 3 places: Pesachim 15b, Sota 22b, Sanhedrin 105b. Okay, says a person who should always occupy himself in the study of Torah, whether for the sake of God or even not for the sake of God. So let's see some, like maybe he does not want to study Torah, but so you force yourself, and then you come to love it. Commentary. The Rambam elaborates further on the definition of this concept in Hilchot Teshuvah 10 and Halachos 4 and 5. 10, I think it's the last section. The sages of the previous generation declared, Should one say, I will study Torah in order that I become wealthy, in order that I will be called a rabbi, or in order that I receive reward in the world to come? Right? The Torah teaches, if you're careful to observe my commandments, to love God, implying that all that you should do, you do should be done only out of love. So out of love to HaShem, whatever you do. The sages also said in Psalms 112:1. So they instruct, desire His commandment greatly. Desire His commandment and not the reward that comes from His commandments. So that's very interesting, right? Desire His commandment, but not what rewards. So people come up with all these gulas and stuff like that. No, just you have a commandment, that's enough. That's the biggest reward. Okay, anyone who occupies himself in Torah study in order to receive reward or in order to protect himself from retribution is considered as one who is not occupied for the sake of God. So even though to receive reward, okay, or say, okay, just not to get sick. So he's going to do whatever this Asher Yotzar, right, the blessing after the rest, or not to get sick. So if you want to get good health, that's what you do. But that's what our sages say. But the primary reason should be like thanking God for for all of the miracles that He just did. Okay. In contrast, anyone who occupies all of these things. So a person's one, like as we said, he wants to be wise, he wants to be wealthy, he wants to get a position of rabbi, all of these things. So it's also not for the sake of God. In contrast, anyone who occupies himself with it, not because of the fear, nor to receive reward, but rather because of his love for the Lord of the entire earth, who commanded it, is the one who occupies himself for the sake of God. Right? So it's very, very simple. Right? So let me read it again and we explain. It's okay. In contrast, anyone who occupies himself with it, meaning with Torah study, not because of the fear, nor to receive reward, but rather because of the love of the Lord of the entire earth, who commanded it, is the one who occupies himself for the sake of God. But I would say, just say, even if it's not and you're out of fear, continue doing, don't stop, don't get let Satan discourage you. You continue going forward. Okay. So let's read this sentence again from the beginning. So it says, according to our sages would say, a person should always occupy himself in Torah study, whether for the sake of God or whether not for the sake of God. Okay, we just counted. For from the study of the Torah, which is not carried out for the sake of God, will come the study of the Torah, which is carried out for the sake of God. Okay, so commentary. Rashi and Bracha 17a and Tosafos Ta'anit 7a notes that the Talmud is extremely critical of those who do not occupy themselves with the Torah for the sake of God. So that is, as you said, like it's better for them to die in some case. Okay. Ta'anit 7a declares that whenever a person does not study Torah for the sake of God, the Torah becomes deadly potion for him. So it's not like it's not good or it's not nice. So it's like it's a poison for him, deadly potion, right? Bracha 17a say that it would have been better for a person who does not study Torah for the sake of God not to have been born. So it's like very harsh, right? In resolution, the commentary explained that there are two levels of occupying oneself with the Torah study not for the sake of God. So I mean, like it's clear contradiction, right? Clear. So what is the explanation? A, to gain wealth, honor, and other benefits is similar to as implied as by Rambam here. So one more time, gain wealth, honor, and other benefits. Okay. So that's one, and the second one, not both of them are not for the sake of God reasons, right? And second, to order and wax a collar. So in order to make fun of him. So somebody like in my shul, there is a younger person, yeshiva bochur, right? So he gives Shabbos lecture, classes before the mincha, like 40 minutes or 35, whatever. Like, I mean, he's a very knowledgeable guy, but he's I don't know, maybe 22 years old. He's very, very knowledgeable, very nice, very, very sweet guy. And sometimes these older people who learn exactly 2.5 things, so they try to like pinch him and stuff, like, you understand? So this is exactly what it's in order to wax a colleague, like to show them, yeah, I mean, maybe you sitting there and teaching all us older people, but guess what? We know better, right? I just asked you the question that you did not know the answer. So for this second category, also should suggest occupation with Torah study, even if it's not intended for the sake of God. If one has a former motives. So former meaning this one. Former mean that they to gain the wealth, right? However, one's motives are the latter meaning this to make fun of the colleague, then our sages' harsh words of criticism apply. So it's not always. So I mean, if he only for honor, for to be called a rabbi, so maybe has a chance. But other guy, it's like purely he makes Torah actually his weapon, that he goes and humiliate another person, which is absolutely not allowed. So for that, about such a person, Torah says it's better for him not to be born. Okay, so commentary. Actually, the commentary will say it's carried out for the sake of God. So I mean, he starts doing not for the sake of God and going to bring him for the sake of God. Commentary last, and we stop. So it says the introduction to Eicha Rabbah 2 quotes God as saying, "Would that Israel abandon me and keep my Torah." Right. So it's a very famous verse. So Hashem says, "Okay, they want me." No problem. Okay, what can I do? It's not no problem. It is big issue, right? But let them at least not abandon my Torah, right? So God says, "Would that Israel abandon me and keep my Torah, for its light will ultimately return them to good." Who is good? Hashem is good. If Jew frequently occupies himself with Torah, the inner godly nature of the Torah will eventually have the effect upon him and motivate him to serve God with the proper intention. So that's I'm not reading Rambam, that's commentary. So I would say maybe yes and maybe no. It depends what kind of Torah he's reading, and depends of what kind of teacher he has. I know many people, they 14, 15, 60, they exactly like same animals that were like all these years. Torah did not change them a bit. They get the new information, but extra information they forgot more, did not change. Okay. There is a deeper aspect. So I mean, unless a person works from himself, he's trying to apply this Torah not to be just something like he has to listen for 45 minutes or 20 minutes or 2 hours, 5 hours, whatever, how many hours. So unless he's trying to work on himself, it's not going to change. Not at the moment. I mean, it's going to help him, give him some ideas that he has to change, but that's it. There's a deeper aspect of the statement. This Hebrew word translated as from also can be interpreted from the inner part. Okay. Every element of the Jewish life is motivated by his godly potential. Godly potential. Though he may think that he is performing a mitzvah for selfish intent, the inner core of that service is the Jew desires to cling to God without ulterior motives. Okay, that's the godly soul that is inside of the Jew wants to connect to God without any ulterior, just to be close to Him. That's it, right? Rambam elaborates on this principle that a selfish desire can be used as a motivation for involvement in Torah, and in his commentary to the Mishnah, in his introduction to the 10th chapter of Sanhedrin. Meaning, so of course we say as that's exactly the example I wanted to give. Okay, he's going to explain now. Listen, it's beautifully said. When a young child is brought to a teacher to be taught to be taught the Torah, this is the greatest good for him, allowing him to attain fulfillment. Okay, so meaning for a child, does he know? No, right? He has no idea. However, because of his youth and undeveloped intellect, the child does not comprehend this good. Therefore, it is necessary for a teacher to motivate his studies with the things that he loves. I mean, child loves. He should tell him, "I will give you nuts, figs, and little honey." It is out of this motivation that the child begins to study. So not because he understands it's good for me, not good for me. Okay, so he sees the reaction of the teacher or the parents that they're very excited that he's getting the knowledge, she's getting the knowledge. Okay, and you give some gifts. The child studies not because of the essence of the study, for the child has no comprehension of that, but because of the food. Okay, so it's purely for the food, no spiritual things. Okay, eating these delicacies is more important for him to the actual study. So it's not, and still, as Rambam said, it's not a problem on this level. When he becomes older, his intellect grows to the point where he realizes that the worthlessness of these items. He should be encouraged and motivated to learn the promise of the things he holds dear. His teacher should tell him, "Study, and I will buy you nice shoes and beautiful garments." So his price is rising. Right? Thus he will study, not for the sake of study itself, but for the garment. The garment become more valuable for him than the Torah. That's it, like very simple. Garment is very okay. But guess what? We leave him alone. Okay. Well, let it be so. The Rambam continues mentioning other factors that may be employed to motivate the children. For example, money or honor. He concludes, all this is degrading. Nobody said it's very high, praiseworthy, but our goal is to make this child adult, even to learn Torah. Nevertheless, because of the limits of the person's intellect, it may be necessary to make the goals of wisdom something other than wisdom. So make it something else. Say that it's going to be good for you, and how is it good for you? That at least you give HaShem some chances, right, to help you. Otherwise, if you live like an animal, so you have zero chance. In Hilchot Teshuvah, same place, Rambam also emphasizes how teacher must slowly mold the child's character to lead him step by step to the appreciation of the proper motives of the service of God. So don't go too even with Baal Teshuvah, right? We don't go too fast. So you go too fast, you break him. Right? You go slowly, even if they want to do everything in day one. As their knowledge grows, their wisdom increases. This secret or service of service of God for His sake should be revealed to him slowly, bit by bit. Don't go to him and say, you know what, I'm going to give you the candy, but it's not the best way to serve God. You know that, right? So of course you don't reveal that to him. Why? Because he's simply going to crush the person. They should become accustomed to this concept gradually until he grasps it and know it and begin serving God out of love. That's amazing commentary. So we can stop here. Any questions on what we said or any topic? Okay, if no questions, so we can, go ahead.
Yep. I have a couple of questions, maybe a few.
Go ahead.
So, for and bed Netilat Yadayim lifted from the floor.
I think it must be on the floor, hide on the floor. What do you mean by that?
Yes, because I don't know if it is a good idea to put the container of water directly on the floor.
There is no problem to put it on the floor. No problem whatsoever. The only thing, don't put it under the bed. But otherwise, me personally, I have like a little chair, and I put it on a chair, so it's very convenient to wash your hands while you're still in the bed. That's what I do. But there is no problem whatsoever if it's on the floor. There is no problem whatsoever. Go ahead, yes.
Another question is, can I put a profile photo of the bulls of the temple, or it will be a sin?
In a profile picture, you mean? Where?
Yeah, in a profile photo, for example, in WhatsApp.
I would not do so. It's like a degradation, like you and the temple is almost the same thing. So don't do it. You know, it's a degradation.
It's a commandment that grave any image.
No, there is no problem with image. It's not an issue. It's a problem, as I said. It's like you associate yourself with the temple, right? Where's the connection? Images we have when we say about images, I think we can learn about images also. It's actually in the same volume, the same book. So the HaShem said the only images that of the stars, of the moon, all of these planets are forbidden because other people worship them. And the images of like 3D image, like figures of for sure forbidden. The four figures that on Hashem's throne of glory, whatever it means, Kiseh HaKovod, which is image of the man, which is Yaakov, who represent the humanity. Image of eagle, the king of all of the birds, and image of bull, the king of all of the domesticated animals, and a lion, which is the king of all of the wild animals. So those for sure don't have the figures, but others, like, it's not recommended to have figures, but if and plus not very not recommend to have 3D sculptures of people, for sure not. But the drawings, there is no problem.
So would be forbidden to have because I like these bulls. I don't know if it is one bull or several bulls. I think they are golden. They are in the temple. Maybe have a representation scale. It would be forbidden to have that in our possession.
Well, I'm sorry, I think bulls in a temple.
Yes, some figure of a bull holding something in the temple that is a golden color.
The only bulls in a temple that I can think of, it was in a Shlomo's temple. It was like big basin. They call it a sea. It was huge, and it was it was from copper, like huge, like container of water, and where the Kohanim would dip as a mikveh, and it was rested on the backs of the bulls, like they were like columns. But other bulls, I would not know. Like, are you talking about that thing?
Yeah, Shlomo temple. It would be forbidden to have that.
It's better, exactly, because we do not actually know how it looks like. So all the pictures are very good, but we don't have any documentation. I mean, if you try to read the explanations, okay, I mean, the explanation may make sense, but if the other artists would drew it differently based on the same information, I would think so. Understand? So it's not a true representation of these things, those things. So I would say don't do it.
And the last question is about Noahites. If they are allowed to believe anything related to Christianity, as I understood the last year that non-Jews may be allowed to have first the only one God of Israel, and they then something else would be forbidden for non-Jews to have anything related to this thing.
Okay, that's a good question. It's actually called the kishuv. Kishuv is I mean you almost describe it. It's that it's for non-Jews. For Jews it's forbidden for sure. But for non-Jews, so some rabbis and not everybody agree. So kishuv is like they believe in God 100% as the creator of the world and something else. So that's why some minority give some legitimacy to Christianity. So they say no. They know that God was creator of the world, but he had this he had this little Yoshkin. But there is a different prohibition for them. So I'm not sure. I mean, maybe they can believe in something else, but they're not allowed to make their own religion. That's the thing. So I'm not sure exactly what they can believe. What would be a good example? They can believe like I'm not sure. I'm not sure what would be HaShem and something else. But for sure, new religions. It's actually in the sense 7 laws. Right? As I said, new religions are absolutely forbidden. And also forbidden for them to make any holidays. So any day, if they say that this day is special because of whatever, it's absolutely forbidden for them. It's not allowed. So technically, non-Jews don't have any holidays. Not allowed to have holidays.
So I ask this because in Latin America, or in my country, Argentina, people are very hard to get away from Christianity. They are righteous people in one sense, but I'm not sure if they can be called righteous people if they are not getting away, and they are almost idolizing GC.
Not almost. They are. If they say he's God or son of God, so I mean they serve him, they bow him, they talk to him, they swear in his name, they call him, this and that. Of course, I mean that's 100% idolizing him. So that's not what kishuv means. I mean, you understand? Okay, go ahead. What is it?
Yeah, because they now the I don't know the style today is. It's not God, they say. He was a rabbi, but they still are making too much focus on him, and I don't think they can be called righteous Noahite if they are doing this so much like an idol.
Yes, of course not. No.
So what can I say to them? They cannot be called righteous people if they believe in this.
No. So it's idol worshiper. It's actually the first of the 7 Noahide laws that they have to believe in one God. Not he has a Trinity, not he has a son, not that he has a girlfriend or his father or his uncle or his mother. You understand? So God is God, and that's it. And so I mean. It's very interesting, right? It's not such an easy thing as I learned from one of my students as to be a nochite. It's not such an easy thing, not. So he's trying to find the shidduch, and in his country where he lives, he does not know any other nochite. Guess what? Very interesting.
Yeah, mutating this belief, strange beliefs, they are mutating every year, every time.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
That's for me. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? We stop here. All right, no problem. So stop here. So tomorrow we're going to do Halachos of brachas. Thank you very much. And good night. Thank you.